hoping that this all works out because, technology, it's like,
Right.
is it going to work? I don't know.
Does it? On my side, if it makes you feel any better, it says everyone can hear you.
I know, right? Do you know what's so funny is so I have my iPad over here with YouTube pulled up, and you know how every once in a while your Apple products will pull up a little thing that says your memories. Yeah, so mine just popped up your photo memories. Your photo memories from Wisconsin. I was like, what? It's like, how did it
It
know?
knows you're talking to me. Yeah. It
How
knows
did
you're
it
talking.
know?
Yeah. That's funny.
Okay, let's see. I don't know why it's not. Let's see. Settings, destinations. Yeah, it says it's going to be on YouTube. Mm-mm-mm.
I would pull it up, but I'd be afraid of an infinite loop.
I know, right? It says we're alive, but I don't see anything.
It's lying to you.
It's lying to me. It says we're, hold on. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. We are live. Close live. Okay, let me share this.
Oh, hold on. Can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second. My laptop is now saying I don't have enough battery. Oops. All right. I am back. I will just not so subtly put my laptop cord in my computer.
Okay, so we're getting situated, everyone. So if you can
We got
hear
people.
us, say hello in the chat. I'm watching on YouTube. Yes, I had a great message. Thank you, Samantha. She's like, I can hear you. I just don't know how to tell you. So there is a chat on our YouTube channel. So if you can hear us, there's a live chat. Should be able to bring it up. I'll put a little note in the chat, and then maybe it will pop up. And we will get started in just a minute. Now, the good thing is, like when I go to edit this, I can just chop this part right off.
Yeah, just clip that.
All right. Let's do it. Yes. Okay. We are live and people can see us. Good morning, Beth.
Good morning.
How's it going?
I'm all right, Deanna. How are you?
I'm doing really well, having a good weekend.
Good.
Really excited about this topic. I know that we've been talking about this kind of offline for the last year, and I know that you've been talking about it for a lot longer. So I'm really excited for us to share this time together. And so, welcome everyone to our podcast. So, today we're talking about the healing power of dance. And before we get into it, I just want to say, first of all, thank you to our members, because without our members, we would not be able to offer these conversations, the podcast, so many things that we send out to the community. So, please be sure to thank a fellow member of FCBDU. And this podcast is completely for our community. So feel free to share it with anybody that you find may benefit from it. And with that being said, the healing power of dance is a huge topic, like huge. We're talking physical, mental, spiritual. I mean, there's just so many aspects of it. So we do have some experts, some psychologists even lined up for future podcasts relating to mental health and dance. We even have some classes on stage fright, nervous system, all kinds of amazing things coming out in the future. So stay tuned. Today, we really wanted to talk about dance as a modality of healing from more of a personal experience aspect, and some of the things that we've both gone through, some of the things that we've both experienced personally and with our students in this healing power of dance. And we would love for you to, if you want to share your story, if you want to maybe talk about how dance has impacted something in your life as far as healing goes, in the comments, you're welcome to do that. We'd love to hear from you there. So I reached out to Beth a couple of months ago. Actually, maybe it was earlier this year, or Beth reached out to me and she was like, let's do something on FCBDU. What can we provide? She was like, what can I do to help with the community even more? And I said, well, let's do a podcast together and talk about something that's like near to your heart. And she's like, the healing power of dance. So thank you, Beth, so much for bringing up this topic and for opening up and being willing to talk about this today.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Where would you like to start?
Oh, that's such a good question. So I was preparing for the podcast, and I was, of course, me, I'm like doing all the research and finding all of the other research that's been done on this topic. And there's so much out there. And there's people that have, healed traumatic brain injury through dance. They're working with their parents, let's say, in dementia, parents that are going through dementia or Alzheimer, by getting them to move and get connected to their body. There's people that have had strokes or neurological disorders, various cancers, just all kinds of ways that dance has been really healing. So I thought it would be good to maybe start today talking about our own journeys so that people kind of understand why this is an important topic to us. And think both of us we're fairly quiet through the journeys that we went through. And I still haven't really told everybody what's been going on. So Beth, you want to kick us off a little bit about why this topic is near to you? Close to you?
Sure. Yeah, let's so the first thing I'd kind of like to say, and when I first started dancing, it was from a social aspect. I was really interested in the social aspect of it, and I was also interested in the physicality of it. I like flexibility. I like mobility. Anything that doesn't move is dead. That's the reality. Movement is life. If you do not move, you by extension are not alive. Even plants and trees, or whatever, these things move, whether it's with the wind, actively or passively, and so dance is movement. Movement is life. And therefore, to me, the two really are combined together in this way, that when I first started, I never really thought about it. I was thinking about it more from the physical aspect of it, which was, how do I gain flexibility? How can I continue to maintain my strength? How can I challenge myself to do something totally new and different that I've never done before? Because when we're dancing, it's magic. It is moving magic. It is happening in the moment, in front of people, with a real-time connection. And I knew it was good for the mind, but didn't really realize it, and I think today we live in a very interesting society where we consider our mind separate from our body, when the reality is those things are inextricably linked to one another, and you cannot live without the other. Now, if you want to go sci-fi and go crazy and say in the future, maybe you can port your consciousness to something else, or you're going to be the living head, like what was that in? I don't know if it was American Dad or one.
Oh, yeah.
where eventually your head just lives, hey, great, we're not there yet. So to me, these things are all connected. We do not get to unlace one from the other. So the mind and the body truly are a singular thing. And I was just at doing the intensive, the House of Tarot intensive with Zoe Jakes, and Maria Hammer was out there, and she and I, some people know about her cancer journey that she's currently going through. And during the process, Zoe actually said something which was brilliant, which was, the first part's mine, which dance is art, but the brilliant thing that she said is art is medicine. And it
Mm.
really is. Um, I had colon cancer. I had to have part of my intestine hanging out of my body. Um, as a belly dancer, I'm sure you can imagine how absolutely mind adjusting this is, because first of all, it's creepy. I mean, I got over it obviously, but it was a little odd. It was odd. It's like, how can I live with my intestine literally hanging outside of my body? How does it stay alive? Why doesn't it go back in? And so it was much like anything in life, everything's a journey. You might see your life in either chapters of a book or an encyclopedia volume, and there are different phases that you're going through. So for me, my cancer was a part of my life, maybe a book within that had a very distinct beginning, and it still has it. It's technically got its end at this point. Knock on wood. Um, and and really, I was dancing because it was the thing for me that still made me feel alive. I had some control over it, because most of the time in life, you don't control a lot of things. You think you do.
Mm.
You think you do. And until you actually get sick or you go through something where your life has been just unimaginably altered, um, you suddenly realize that the control that you believe that exists within your life is really not there. It's a psychological it's a psychological thought process. And so to me, the one thing I could control was at least moving of some in some way, shape,
Mm.
or form. So um, it started out, I couldn't dance at all, actually, or I danced very little. I danced, um, and then I can go through the rest of it. But hopefully that kind of sets it up for how, you know what I mean? What let's maybe if I take a question or something, because I can go on forever. I am a Gemini. I would so,
Yeah. No,
but
I love that. What you just said, what you shared with what Zoe said, art is medicine. Absolutely. I made some notes as you were writing this, because it's so interesting how we everybody comes to dance for different reasons. So you came to dance for the physicality aspect, and I came to dance because I was really looking to meet people, make friends, connect with a more feminine aspect of myself, because not gender, but we have feminine and masculine, and I tend to live in this more masculine energy of like to-do lists and getting the things done, and like taking charge of the situations and things like that. And I really needed a more softness, connection in my life. And it for the first, let's say, 18 years of my dance life, 18, 19 years of my dance life, I always, yes, felt like the physicality part of it was helping me and healing me and keeping me mobile and keeping me active. But it was more about the mental health aspect, because what a lot of people might not know is that I had, and we can talk about that a little bit later, really bad, severe anxiety pretty much my whole adult life, and felt the need that I needed to control everything. Like when you have anxiety, you're thinking about you have your 10 steps ahead, and then those 10 steps have 10 steps just in case, kind of a thing. And replaying situations that happened, let's say 10 years ago, and wondering if that's what's impacting it's just, I can't even begin. So if you've had anxiety, that so
Yep.
so this dance form in that aspect helped me not necessarily get over my anxiety, but have an outlet that I couldn't possibly control the outcome. I could try my best, but improv is improv. And I couldn't control what someone else was going to do. I couldn't control the outcome of the situation. I could only be in the moment. And so it helped me really balance out that aspect of the anxiety.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And you and I have had this conversation before where that was partially why I came to belly dance.
mm-hmm.
Like I was taking ballet. So I had the physicality when I was in the ballet classes, but the belly dance I was interested in to meet people. But it just goes to show that you have multiple motives. Like sometimes you're guided to that thing that you didn't know that you needed, but really you needed.
Mm-hmm.
And as for anxiety, yeah, I had agoraphobia so bad at one point in my life, I didn't go outside my house for like 2 months. And most people are like, like just because I seem so outgoing now, but you're right. I mean, it's the social nature of it where it's kind of like it's the Fibonacci, right? If you think of yourself in the center of the Fibonacci, and as it starts to spiral outward, you have the tighter, closer knit family, and then you start to get friends, and then it starts to wind out, and now it's more community, and then it's becoming more global. It's very much so. It's interesting how a lot of us start inward and then start to work our way outward, and now it becomes less about self and more about the others and how we can assist others with their journey and trying to connect on a deeper level. Because um, I have a deeply spiritual held belief, and I believe that the earth and that our existence is ordered around humans and not the other way around. I don't think we're dumb animals at all. I think this was created for us, and it teaches us along the route of what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to improve and get better and better people. So I can see that about you, though, because when you have a lot of that energy, it's nice to have a focal point and a guide, and it kind of helps you to guide that. And like you said, when you realize,
oh, I lost you. Oh, your audio, and you're stuck. Okay, Beth will be back. But I would love to hear. So Beth will be back. Sorry about that. I'd love to hear from those of you that have joined us live. We're just getting into this conversation. We have some stories to share here, but I'd love to hear from you if so far if like Dance for Healing, the healing power of dance, rather, resonates with you. You don't have to share your story if you don't want to, especially in the comments. It can be a little bit harder to chat, but maybe just like, yep, I hear you, or put in the comments physical or mental if you joined dance for a specific reason, one of those to help with your healing power. She's back. Yeah.
I was like, who was it? Was it you or was it me? I'm sorry. I who it is. I thought it was you, but sorry about that.
That's all right.
Technology.
I know.
See, when the message is really important, sometimes they don't want you to know. But it's so where did I cut off?
You were saying sometimes you're just kind of drawn to, basically, I think what you were saying was you're typically drawn to the things that you need in order to improve, or that you need to kind of bring into your life. So even if you don't realize it yet, I think also, I just wanted to add, even if you don't realize it yet, you're like drawn to this thing. You're like, I didn't realize I needed it so much when I did.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, I know when I was talking to you, I was like, I haven't really shared my story yet. And you were like, no, this is a great opportunity to share your story because people will be supportive. So, so I'm going to take this opportunity to share a little bit of my story, my more recent story. That's not about it is mental health, but it's actual physical health as well. That a lot of you don't know. So October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is another reason we're having a Dance as a Healing podcast. I'll try to be kind of brief, but as we know, a few years ago, we lost my dear friend and teacher, Mega, from breast cancer. And so you can imagine last October, when I got my own diagnosis of breast cancer, it was a lot to deal with as far as physical and mental. And I opted not to be public with until now, I opted not to be public because I just didn't know how to process it mentally, the tie back in with my teacher's story. And then I knew that when I heard breast cancer for myself, I couldn't disconnect it from clearly what all Mega went through and then the end result of that. And I didn't want people to associate that story with me because I was like, no, this is my own story. And it's a very different story. So anyway, so I had that diagnosis last October. And in long story short, after a couple of surgeries in January, I ended up with a double mastectomy and reconstruction surgery, AKA new boobs that aren't trying to kill me. And after several weeks of a lot of healing, I could actually get back into dance and yoga and movement again. And so my whole year of 2024 has been very different for me as far as dance and movement goes than it had been previously. Previously, yes, dance and yoga was physical, but as I mentioned, it was really a lot of my mental health to keep my anxiety in at check as much as possible. And in 2024, it all shifted. Yes, I needed dance and yoga for my mental health, but I relied on it more for my physical health, specifically to get back into my body. My chest is numb. I can't feel anything here it might be like that forever. So for a dance form that's all about this uplifted posture where you're dancing from your heart, you're lifted in your rib cage. I strongly feel the fact that I was connected with my body before breast cancer, now coming into my body after breast cancer, when I have so much numbness and so much tightness and healing still happening deep within the body, because all that fascia, they just basically scrape your entire chest. Having that familiarity has helped me get back in with my body because I'm not relying on what something looks like as much as I'm relying on what it feels like. But when you don't know if you can feel everything the same way that you felt it before, you have to be more mindful, even more so with your movement.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's a very brief share of my story and why healing through dance has become even more deep or has more dimensions and more layers for me now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So cancer free, by the way, both of us. Woo! Can we just take a moment and celebrate that?
Yeah. I think although they did not officially tell me, this is my 5th year, so I think I'm technically in remission now.
Yes.
So it makes me very happy, and I'm happy for how you feel following your journey, because it impacts you in ways that, unless you've had to go through it, you just don't understand. And honestly, I've said it before, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Um, it's very challenging, but I like the fact that you said, you're numb, and so you're relying upon the knowledge that you had in your body. So for me, it was the front, but obviously not my breasts. It was my stomach. And I remember one time I was dancing. I was taking, because this was at the height of COVID. So if you really want to screw yourself, you get cancer in the middle of COVID and a pandemic. I couldn't go anywhere, couldn't see anybody. So thank God everybody had Zoom classes at the time, myself included, and I have literally, pardon the French, I have a shit bag hanging off of my body. It's poop. It's poop coming out my body. Now I'm happy to have pooped because you don't want it in, okay?
Right.
But you want it coming out, but it's like, well, how do I navigate this? How do I dance with this? How are people going to see this? Are they going to see this? What's this going to do? And then it hurt if I one time I did a belly roll and I accidentally squeezed. My abs are real strong, and I squeezed them like, oh God, I bent over in pain, and I use a lot of humor now, but it wasn't very humorous at the time. And I remember thinking, okay, I can still do a belly roll, but let's just leave those for a little bit, but one of the things that you said is having, and again, understanding that this is who you are physically, mentally, being in your body and being able to understand your body and what your limitations are. In my case, part of the only reason I came forward was because by the time they found it, I was already stage 3. Had I not have found it, I've just had weird symptoms. I'm like, what in the hell is this? And so I came forward because colon cancer is a silent killer. My sister-in-law died from stage 4 colon cancer. They just kept telling her it wasn't colon cancer, it was something else. By the time they found it, it spread through her whole body. It was all over the place, and so I didn't want to, because it's embarrassing to some extent. It's ugly to some extent, but all of us have our reasons for whether or not we come forward or not. And I think the fact that you're coming forward now at a point in time when you're ready for it, which is good. In my case, I did it because I knew that maybe it would save somebody else's life, and I had a bunch of people contacting me asking me what my symptoms were, because they were like, what were you going through? Because that we're exposed to a lot of things in our daily lives, whether it's air pollution, water pollution, food pollution. We've got a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
And so we're exposed to a lot of things, chemicals. And was it one of the chemicals? Who knows? It wasn't genetic. It's something. And it's like, so you're seeing this rise in cancers, and it's like, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to come out with it. And even though it's ugly, and, and go through it. So I wore baggy shirts. I did certain moves. But let me tell you, one of the things that was great about it, for anybody who might be going through this, because I can't see the chat right now, for anybody who's going through any sort of illness, I can tell you this. My oncologist said he had never seen anybody bounce back so fast. He said he'd never, first of all, I was in the best shape of my life. I talked to Maria Hammer, same thing with her. She had, what do they call that? The triple negative, R3 triple negative breast cancer. I literally just talked to her this weekend, and she was in the best shape of her life when it struck her. And that actually helped. So it was physical. But then there was the mental aspect of it, like you said, as well. And for me, there was also, I'm a deeply spiritual person. So there was a spiritual aspect to it, And the thing is, so weird science stuff, instead of emotional stuff, which I'm fine being emotional, but I'll give you some weird science stuff. The body is reputed to be 80 to 90% water, just 80, 90% water. We'll just throw a statistic out there. You can Google me later. And music creates vibrational patterns which impact the water in your body. And there's this really cool YouTube that I can send out to people, how changing the frequency of music will impact the water, and it creates totally different shapes. And so when you think about it, what we're doing is we're creating vibration in our body to help heal ourselves by dancing. So it's the physical nature of the dancing with the flexibility and the strength training and the arms up and the things that we do, but there's also the musical note aspect of it, which is deeply connected to what we do. And so that music is creating frequency and resonance in the body and physically changing at a cellular level what we are comprised of. And the notion of sacred geometry, not just in the sound that we're listening to and the way it creates vibration and pattern in our cells and in but also the sacred geometry in the body itself. That's these repeating patterns over and over again. We are in a time when we are very reductionistic. We reduce everything to the smallest part and assume that we're going to know everything because we got to the granular level. But just because I can look at this cell at this much doesn't tell me what the rest of it looks like. It's like looking at a forest, but you're only focused in on one leaf of one tree. You need to broaden out your horizons and expand your mind. And so all of these things are, I really believe, are connected. And Deanna, it was funny you said that you had gone out and Googled some stuff. So did I. There was this beautiful video of an Alzheimer person. It was a gentleman, and they put an opera singer singing Ave Maria. He sang that whole song all the way through. He remembered it. That music is tied. And I can tell you, when I hear Nefertari's Dream, the things, my body responds to that before I've even danced it. When you have something you deeply connect with, it's amazing, the healing nature of it, because it's, we're never the same person. We're totally different people. Who I am today is not the person 100% I was yesterday. We are water flowing over a waterfall. It's never the same water. Who you are in this moment is never the same. And so you're just going about your journey, not thinking about things, and then you have something happen. It can be a moment for you to look at your life and ask yourself, what am I being told here? What am I supposed to garner from this? And how did going through my dance experience set me up to be successful?
Yeah.
Because if I could even move a finger, I can move a finger. If all I could do is lift an elbow, I've taught people in wheelchairs before, briefly, where all I can do is lift an arm, I lifted an arm. If all I could do was move a toe, a finger, that's still life. That's still, you could, you know what I mean? Like it's connected. Sorry, I'm weird
Yeah.
now. I told you I was weird.
I love it. I love it because I'm like this. I love the science behind things, and I also get woo woo because I love to also tie in my dance aspect with the Eastern philosophies that I experience in my yoga practice and that I've studied over however many years of my yoga practice and beyond. And so everything that you're saying completely resonates with me. And if you think about the chakra system with our different energy centers that flow throughout our body, we have 7 major ones. We have lots of other ones all throughout our body, and they all have different frequencies. Exactly what you're just saying. Like the heart chakra has a specific frequency, and there's music that you can play that helps connect you with that energy and just different aspects like that. And so I strongly feel like getting our feet connected to the earth, getting grounded, right? Getting your hips moving and getting that sense of fluidity and creativity and literally moving the womb of creation. Getting your belly moving, that center of strength and personal power, right? Your heart space. and that energy around connection and sharing and love and all of the compassion, right? Your throat chakra, like all of these areas that we move in our dance that help us get this stagnant energy and kind of and move it away. And from somebody that is very physical with yoga and with dance to then get breast cancer, my mind goes to, what did I do wrong?
Yep.
My mind immediately goes to, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And for me, I strongly, and this is like a whole different podcast, but I 100% believe that the dis-ease in your body is a symptom of like an emotional aspect, right? Because it's the mind, it's the body, it's all of these things. So if we look at the heart chakra related to breast cancer, and we think about the anxiety, right, that I lived my life with, and the need to feel liked, or the need to feel the approval of others, like that type of thing can really impact the energy that you hold in your heart space. So I have no doubt that the hard times, let's just say hard times over the last several years with community and friendships and family and a lot of other personal things just built up and built up and built up and then manifested themselves in a physical way. Is that what everybody thinks? Absolutely not. Is that the truth? Who knows? But that's what I feel. So now my healing path, along with dance, I'm looking at things through my dance in a different way. How can I approach dance and my dance practice without feeling the need to focus more on the mental aspect, but how can I just to dance for the sake of dancing, or not dance for the sake of teaching or doing something else, but just dancing for the sake of dancing, letting my fear or letting my emotions around it go, and not feeling so tied to the outcome, right? So something you said earlier, I wrote down because I was like, yes, this need to control everything, this need to control my emotions, right? I'm just like, fuck it. It's like, forget it. I'm done trying to control the emotions. And so the sickness that I had, and through this healing process, especially the healing process through my dance and how my dance has changed me and how I have changed with my dance over the last, let's say, 8 months, has really allowed me to feel more free and let go of the illusion of control.
Yeah.
Because I tried to control every aspect of my life and look what happened.
Yeah.
Right? So now it's like, okay, well then forget it.
Yeah.
Not controlling it anymore. Now I can just be. And so taking that into my dance has been a little freeing, a little more open. I don't know if that's the best way to say it, but it's really helped me.
Yeah. No, and that's great. I mean, when it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, it's like, again, for whatever reasons we're drawn to this art form, for whatever reasons, we stick with the art form. You know, the benefits have far outweighed any of the challenges that have been experienced through it. You know, and I think all of us as a collective, because I do believe in some Jungian theories as well, of the collective unconscious, I think a lot of us right now are in a healing phase. We're awakening to different aspects of ourselves. And, uh, just it's interesting. I was talking to Mariah Chappell about this. Are we coming? I think of the archetypes of the bad mother versus the good mother. For a while, I feel like we were flaming We were the angry. We were the quote unquote bad mother. Not bad being a relative term, you understand.
Yeah.
But we were very much in a phase of burn it down. I don't care. Burn it all down. And now I think we're starting to see that balance reshift back, because the reality is, I think as women, and I can only speak for myself. Okay, so I generalize with the statement, but please bear in mind this has been my experience that I have always just wanted perfection. I've wanted perfection. I've wanted control. I suffered with anxiety, much like yourself. I was raped. I everything in my life led me to a point where I was guided to this gift, which has forced me to let go, which is terrifying. It's
Mm.
terrifying.
Hmm.
The reality is, not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to think what you do is just the bee's knees. You can't please everyone all the time. And what's more important is that you're being authentic to yourself, and your people will find you.
Absolutely.
People you're meant to be with will find you. But I have taken every interaction that I've had that has been challenging, and I've tried to ask myself to learn from it, because maybe there was something in what someone said. I had a no woman around for a while. This is the person who always questioned me on whatever I was trying to do, and it made me grow tremendously. So it's not just about having constant affirmation. Sometimes it's about challenging in a way that isn't cutting, it's not violent, it's also not intentional to cut you down, like, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
like diminish you, but it's just asking you to observe until you have that within yourself to question your own actions. I'm in my 50s now, and I see the line, I see the numbers, if you will, the dots. Remember, it used to be dot to dot when I was a kid. I see the dots back to the beginning of my life, and I'm like, that's what it was trying to tell me. I
Yeah.
just could not see it at the time. And that doesn't mean I'm perfect at this point. I still have lots of problems, and I'm still sometimes a crappy person, and I say stupid things, and but it's also real talk about who I am and how my experience has helped others. Like I said, I had other people reach out to me. As a matter of fact, there's a woman by the name of Lorraine who actually had colon cancer and reached out to me and said, I got through this, you can get through this, and was like a guiding force. And now I'm doing that with a woman in the community, where she was asking, well, what did you go through, blah blah, so that's important.
Yeah.
It's important that we're having this conversation, because I know it's still raw for you, and I know it's still very real, and I know it's frightening, but I um, but I know that it's helped in its own weird way. You know what I mean? In its own
Absolutely.
way, it's helped. So, and although I don't mind the term survivor, I tend not to use it with myself. I was
Yeah.
just somebody who went through something really crappy, and I made it through the other side. And if somebody can learn from what I went through, great. And if it comes back, which I know there's a possibility, I will knock on wood again. Um, if it comes back, it comes back, and it'll have to be something I deal with. And but for now, I'm just trying to extract every piece of living and life, and happiness and joy and friendship that I can get out of it.
Yeah.
Because if I don't have you, or you don't have me, there's it's we're meant to be connected to one another. You know what I mean? Like, as a community, we're all meant to be connected for whatever reason. We don't know why, but it's I'm sure you've heard the term before. If a tree, it's a philosophical question. If a tree falls in the forest, does anybody hear it? And I believe that the tree still makes a sound, even if no one is there to hear it. But if nobody is there to hear it, is there a point to it? Like, and it's okay to be solitary and alone and to sort of pull back, but then it's also good to go out and to realize people need to hear it. So I'm proud of you for coming forward on this, because I know it was
Thank you.
a difficult, it's been a difficult journey, you know.
It has. And but you really touched on something that I want to circle about around two things, going kind of tying this into the healing aspects of dancing. So when when I was diagnosed, here's a person with high anxiety who researches, everything and goes down 500 rabbit holes
Don't
and
Google it.
has to look at everything, right, without to make a decision. So interestingly, got my diagnosis, dancer brain kicked in. Okay. It's almost like you're in the middle of a performance and the music stops. What am I going to do? I'm not going to research it. I'm not going to Google it, my symptoms. I'm going to tackle this just like I would if something went wrong in a performance. And then afterward, I'm going to look back and be like, whoa, look at that. You know what I mean? So that dancer brain and not the anxiety brain kicked in when it was time for self-care, when it was time to figure out what path to take, when it was time to make decisions about what was best for me. And I'm really, really appreciative that I could do that, because my husband was just like, how did you do that? How did you just go into action mode, focused mode? There's, something went wrong with the performance. Here's how to fix it. And not like, oh my God, the whole world is going to end, kind of situation. But that dancer brain just worked for me. And I'll tell you something that also worked, that you nailed it: community. Because we can sit here and we can talk about how dance as movement, the scientific aspect of it, the emotional aspect of it, the woo-woo aspect of it, if you will, physically helps the energy in your body and the water, was what you were saying, in your body. We can talk about the music and how the music impacts your emotional state, and how you can shift your emotional state, which we know impacts our physical state just with the change of music. But a huge part of dance as healing is the community aspect. So when I was doing a little bit of research for our podcast, there's so many YouTube videos and podcasts about dance as healing, and most of them are around social dance, group dance, dancing with somebody else, dancing with other people. And I just want to thank everybody in our community, whether they know it or not. And I know it sounds super cheesy, but my focus on, yes, my healing, but you notice FCBDU, like, I don't think a lot of people realized what I was going through, because I still showed up. And that's everybody's journey is different. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to do that. But for me, in order to get through my healing, I needed to, yes, focus on my own self-care, but I needed to focus on how to continue to help other people, because that helps my heart so much. Like, being able to put the things out there that I do, and just having that focus of the community, and it just shifted my mind out of the woe is me to, no, I have to get better, because I'm doing something really important that I believe in, and I want to do it for the community, and I want to do it for the people. So I know that sounds super cheesy. Everybody has their own story about what gets them through different things. Some people, it's their children, like if a mother has cancer and, the part of their journey is like, I got to do it for my children. Me, it was like, I got to do it for my dance and this life that I know I want to live more of. So, yeah. So thank you for that, community. I want to check in with the comments too, Beth.
Yeah, please.
Are down the road. So hello to those of you joining us live on YouTube. Thank you so much. Edie, Natty, Lisa, Rita Mari, Suze. Hello, my dear. Silmara, Lisa, and State Street Dancer Philly. I believe that is, I can see, I think that's, okay, so I can see your name, it starts with a P. Like, it's not Philippa, because that's, damn. Okay, anyway, so there's a few comments here. Hearts and yays and olas. And both of you are warriors, Suze says. And that's one, like, warrior and survivor, I don't associate myself with those. I know that you were saying like the same with survivor. Because I don't want to be, I don't know. It's just something, like I said, something that, like you said, something that I went through and I'm now on the other side of it. Fighter?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I'm okay with warrior as long as I get my.
Okay with warrior? All right, we'll be warriors. Lisa says, thank you both for sharing. And Street Dancer says, survivor here. Congratulations. Everyone has something that they could use and that could use the love and support dance provided. 100%. Could also be the challenge that you needed in order to discover and develop. That, my dear, I 100% understand. Do I wish, would I have welcomed cancer in my life? Absolutely not. Am I glad that I had it? No. And also,
yes.
Because exactly, in a weird way I am, because I am a different person, even just in 8 months. My anxiety is nearly gone. I had no idea how much my anxiety was driving my everyday stress until you're at one point able to just be like, none of that shit matters. None of that shit matters. And so all of a sudden it's just like, well, if none of that shit matters, what really does? And then now you can get into it, right? Yep. Paula, thank you. I was like, I wanted to say Philip, but I remember I was thinking about your last name. So thank you, Paula. And then, Noara Dance Company is here. Thank you for sharing your stories. 100%. So yeah, so dance has been such a huge aspect of why I have been so quick, I think, in my healing, because it's been 8 months. And look, Beth, I'm so excited. Y'all, after my surgery, I couldn't even lift my arms to here. As a Fat Chance style dancer, not being able to lift your arms is ridiculous. But thank you so much, rhythmic undulations and Egyptians and shimmy steps. Now, do I feel this when I do it? Absolutely. I can feel it in my muscles. I don't feel it in my boobs. Can feel it in my muscles. But now it's like that proprioception of having that knowledge of where my arm is in space, thanks to dance, being able to have that interoception of what does that feel like in my shoulder joint. And even though I can't feel it here in my chest, I'm like, no, I know where my arm is. And that's huge. Like being able to understand your body as a dancer. And then as we come into these physical aspects that need that additional healing, you kind of know about your body a little bit more, or a lot more in many cases. And you can tune in with what heals. When I had to talk to the doctor and she's like, how are you feeling? How are things feeling? I can say, well, this is feeling tight, but I notice that when I do this, it feels okay. She's like, okay, that means that this is the fascia that was causing the issue or whatever. So just having that knowledge of your body, having the knowledge of how your body feels in specific movements, having this uplifted presence instead of, it's really easy to just go into this shell of like, I'm healing, I don't feel good, I don't have a lot of range of motion, but that dancer brain just kicks in and it's like, nope, gotta lift my arms, gotta bring my arms back, like all of the things. So the physical aspects of dance, and then let alone like the music and just putting my headphones on and just listening. And there were times when I couldn't dance, just like you were saying, Beth, there were times where you couldn't physically dance, but you were still involved with the community, right? Still there. You still had that support system there. And I think that that's really important because we don't know what people are going through. Yeah. I posted this a couple of days on my Instagram. I was like, you don't know what anybody's going through. So you have people, for those of you that are teachers, you have people that are showing up to your classes that are cancer warriors and cancer survivors and maybe can't feel parts of their body. And you don't know. There may be people that suffer from extreme anxiety, and it took all of their effort to show up and be vulnerable in their dance class. There are people that the music moves them in so many ways that they can't, sit still or pay attention. There's just so many aspects of individual healing journeys that we can't possibly know. So, as dancers that show up in this community and this social aspect, as teachers, we have to come in, bring, like you said, your authenticity, and be compassionate to people not knowing their stories. We can't expect to know everybody's stories, especially just getting to know them. So, getting people to tune into their own bodies, which is like the story of my entire last 15 years or so, including my alignment course, getting people to tune in with what do their physical bodies feel like from the inside, what do their emotional bodies feel like, helps them come back to themselves, so that if something does throw them off totally, like cancer, they can come back into their bodies. And it's so hard to not think my body rejected me, or my body, something's wrong with me, or my body is against me, even though I took such great care of it. But to see that it's so much more than just the physical aspect, it's the emotional aspect, it's the spiritual aspect, then you can come into it and be like, okay, body, what's up? What do we need? Okay, we need more self-care, we need more compassion, we need more self-forgiveness. Those have all been really huge aspects of this healing power of dance that I knew mentally, but I didn't connect with until earlier this year.
Yeah. You said a couple of things to me that trigger in my mind. First off, a shout out to my troop, because my troop was my community during COVID. So I love my troop dearly, and they know it. And we tell each other we love each other a lot, and they're amazing. They're an amazing group of people that I have been blessed with their presence in my life. And then I do think about my students, because I've had students who came in with knee replacements. I have students who had cancer. And the reality is, Deanna, no matter what, all of us will age and we will die. It is a simple fact of life. And as I would say, from thinking about this from other people's perspective, you know, I know that my mind is younger than my body at this point. I still think I can do shit that I probably shouldn't do, but I still try anyways. But giving yourself grace as well. Give yourself some grace. Uh, Not just, I mean, we're human, we make mistakes, but then I'm going to say something that I'm terrible at. Rest a little. If you need to rest, rest. I'm terrible at it. I'm horrible at it.
Do as we say, don't do as we do.
Don't listen to me. Do as I say, not as I do. But if you notice something's hurt, don't dance through it. If you notice something is maybe a little tight, dance through it. I mean, obviously I'm not a doctor, but listen to your body, listen to your mind. If you're in a bad mood or something, put on your favorite music when you dance. If your students aren't in a good mood and you know that something perks you up, try to get them to perk up that way. It's hard. It's hard because, again, who I am today in this moment is not the same person I am tomorrow in this exact same time in this moment. I'm going to go through mood swings. It was just a big full moon, and we're ever changing and evolving and growing. Like we're our own mini little universe. We're always expanding outward, and hopefully, and then at some point there is the inevitable, where it comes back in, and just try to enjoy the moment you're in. Don't get too far ahead of yourself, and just take that moment to go outside, smell some flowers, sit in the sun, enjoy the leaves. I'm going to be going out after I'm done here and cleaning my backyard up for fall, but give yourself some grace too. And if your body is telling you something is wrong, listen to it and advocate for yourself, because my constant nagging of my doctor saved my life, because my doctor did not think anything was wrong.
Mm.
And, if your body is telling you things, be attuned to it, listen to it. If it says it needs rest, take the rest. You hear this, Beth? I'm talking to myself.
I'm going to remind you. I'm going to send you a text like once a week. Rest. Are you resting?
Yeah, right. I'm terrible at it, but because that's for me, that's kind of my call to action for everyone is, listen to yourself, advocate for yourself. Don't be afraid, if you're having weird symptoms, don't take the first person who says it's nothing just because you might be afraid. You know, I know this can be very scary and when you find out something, but you don't do yourself any service by ignoring it either. So I'd say that's kind of my thoughts encapsulated. I know I said a lot more. I told you I'm a Gemini. I chat a lot. So
I love it. No, I love our chats. And thank you for that because that's really, really important. Listen to your body. Dancers, listen to your body. You're tuned in to your body. If you're not, I mean, that's part of learning to dance is learning to tune into your body.
oh,
So
and encourage your students to listen to theirs as
yeah,
well.
yes, 100%. I want to take a moment and acknowledge some of the comments that have come in. The Noir Dance Company, is that Jennifer, let me know if that's you. She says, or they've said, I've kept my journey close to the chest, pun intended, was diagnosed with breast cancer in April and in reconstruction now. Our dance form and my dance crew got me through it. First of all, I'm so sorry that you had that diagnosis, and I hope that you are recovering, going through, the best possible scenario, which would be just like mastectomy, reconstruction, all of the things. If you want to talk more about your journey, I'm here. I'm here for that. You're welcome to message me, and I'd love to chat with you. And take care of yourself. And yeah, your dance crew is there for you. Absolutely. So she says, and I resonate with the keeping it all going with the dance brain, learning to wing it on stage with things going wrong. Absolutely. You're just like, okay, what am I going to do now? So I think that's Jennifer. So you've probably experienced, and Beth, of course, has experienced where you're like, okay, we're going to do this test, but depending on the outcome, there's 5 different branches. And then once that comes, and depending on that outcome, there's 5 different branches. It's just like, again, that dancer Rolodex of steps coming up. Okay, if she pulls this out, there's 5 different options, right? If that doesn't work, we're going this direction. And you just get that in that mindset of like making it happen. I'm going to end this performance with success. So like with a bang. And she says, and I totally feel you on the being able to raise your arms again. Not totally there yet, but close.
Yeah.
It's a constant everyday thing, but seriously, I'm dancing more now than I was, this time last year, or especially, and even this time when I got back from Germany last summer. So dance is really, really going to help. Just be careful. We're not yanking our bodies into positions, really tuning in and moving from the inside out. And then Jacqueline says, I'm a survivor as well and went on the cancer journey before reconnecting with Fat Chance. Now I have so much more compassion, patience, and truly being in the moment. Sending love and gratitude, ladies. Jacqueline, congratulations. And yes, having more compassion, patience, and being in the moment. That presence is so important. Presence on like not just pushing through the day, but like, how am I feeling today? Really tuning in with the mindfulness. How am I feeling today? I'm feeling tired. Maybe I should take Beth's advice and rest, right? Because what's important, and once upon a time, I would be like, I gotta get all these things done. And I still am like that, let's just be honest. But I would have like a list of all these things, and I have to do all of these things because if I don't do them, then everybody's gonna be disappointed in me. And I'm like, Deanna, nobody even knows that these are on your list. Like nobody even knows. It doesn't matter. Just take the day off and rest. So I'm a lot more compassionate with myself. So Jacqueline, yes, compassion. Yes, okay, it is Jennifer, as far as the Noir Dance Company. Jennifer, I'm going to reach out to you. And then Jacqueline says, yes, 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 advocate 100%. Intuition saved my life and fighting to get my first mammogram. I didn't feel anything, but my inner voice was yelling to get tested. It's October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This is when I always would get my mammograms because it would be a reminder of like mammogram, mammogram, mammogram. And y'all, I mean, every situation is different, but I didn't feel anything. I didn't have any lumps because of the density of my breasts, but I had multiple spots in one side. So don't just rely on, I don't feel anything, it's fine. Go get your freaking mammograms, get your tests, advocate for yourself. And then Jennifer says, exactly, the Rolodex of choices, and to end with success. Absolutely. Absolutely. And remember that dance is here, whether it's music, whether it's movement, whether it's community, whether it's adornment and costuming. And sometimes you just want to feel beautiful for a little while, you know, and just like adorn yourself. Whatever it is, just nurture yourself. And there's as many different aspects of dance as there is. We can use all of them to encourage our own healing journeys, whether it's mental or physical or spiritual.
Yep. I plan to be the eccentric old lady with all the jewelry who wears it just random places.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that cat lady. I'm gonna be the old cat lady with like all the weird stuff in her house.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we get through all of our other aspects here that we so we talked a little bit about physical aspects and the benefits of dance. Of course, we know the strength, flexibility, whether it's preparing for a surgery, perhaps, or even coming out of the surgery on the other side, cardiovascular health and proprioception, all of those things. Getting back into shape after we may have had an injury could be maybe like a sprained ankle, but getting back into shape, listening to your body. How can we do that? I know I've helped a lot of dancers through yoga therapeutics and through using that in collaboration with dance to help people prepare for knee surgeries, to help people come back after really bad accidents. And to be able to come back and thrive and be even better than before because now you've learned something else about yourself, or now you're re-engaging your core in a different way that you weren't doing before, and now your back doesn't hurt, or wow, working on my hips and my feet and now my knees don't hurt anymore. Like all of these things, we can be utilizing dance to help us heal.
Yoga is medicine too.
Yoga,
that was its original intent.
Yes.
Yeah. Medicine.
I want to talk a little bit about dance as emotional healing. So I have some notes here as far as like dance as emotional expression, which we don't physically express like in as far as facial expressions in our dance a lot. But I do want to talk about dance as an emotional expression because for me, sometimes putting a certain song on and just doing a taksim for 3 minutes is so healing. I can just connect with my breath and I connect with the movement, connect with the music. And so don't forget that you can dance just for the sake of getting in tune with your emotions. It doesn't have to be for practice. It doesn't have to be for performance. It doesn't have to be for troop rehearsal. You can just put on the music and just move. Because maybe you need to feel something that a song brings out in you. Yeah, Beth.
I've danced a lot in grief. I did end up performing a couple of pieces on stage. Not that I meant to, but I've danced out of grief before, and it doesn't always have to be happy. It can definitely, be our emotions are more than just happy, sad.
Mm-hmm.
You can dance through a lot of that. Put on some heavy metal, you got anger. It's fantastic. So yeah, that's all I was going to add.
Yeah, well, sometimes that's the only way that we can express our emotions. For those of us that I mean, for me personally, I'm not really great at expressing my emotions. I can, if I'm quiet, I can tune in with them, and that's probably why I held so much here. But I love what you just said about like the metal, the heavy metal, and the anger. Like anger isn't something I ever allow myself to express, but I can
Yep.
put some angry ass music on, and I'm just like I can feel it, you know. And so that is a way of letting yourself express it, because in my mind, anger is like yelling or
Yeah.
violence. And I'm just not that person. So to find a way to express anger, Beth, you just totally nailed it. Put on a song that's like, yeah, heavy metal or some
Well, and
really horrible, like 90s gangster rap. Like, talk about some angry stuff.
well, I'm a metalhead, so for me, it's a natural extension. But yeah, well, and although I do obviously, I love belly dance. I think most people know that um, uh, the ATS FCBD is my home. It's what I feel comfortable with. I love improving, but obviously I can do choreography. I do fusion. I do other styles of belly dance as well. And nothing makes me happier than being able to go out and lip sync a bunch of things that under normal circumstances I probably shouldn't. So
Yeah.
the world's your oyster when you stop confining yourself to whatever you think you are supposed to do. Because as I think personally, as a woman, I was thought meant I was indirectly taught to be, you can't be angry, you've got to be demure, you've got to be this or that, and now I realize, no, that's okay. You can be you, even if sometimes
Yeah.
not, it's not as pleasant. Sometimes I'm not pleasant. So again, sorry, Gemini. The other side, guess what? Oh shit, here comes the crazy bitch.
I mean, can we just take a moment to honor that? Because what you just said is so true. Coming, so as I think everybody knows, I was in a corporate environment for 16, 17 years. And as the only female manager for an extended period of time, when you're in a meeting and it's a bunch of men and you show your emotions, all of a sudden there's a wall that goes up. Like if you're emotional because your team isn't going to get a raise or a bonus, and you're like, I don't understand why my team's not getting a raise, and you just got a new truck, but okay. If you get angry, if you get whatever the case is, it's just like you're not supposed to show those emotions. So how do you show them? I love that idea. Like just put some music on and go for it. Eminem is my go-to in the car. If I'm having like a bad day, I just put Eminem on Lose Yourself, and I'm just like, you got one opportunity. And that actually got me a lot of the way through my treatments, because I was just like,
Yep.
you got one opportunity. Now, on the same point, there are some songs I can't listen to still because they remind me of Mega. So it's like I'm not ready to deal with that grief. And
Yeah.
God, one day I'll just put all those songs on, and I'll just dance them all and cry my eyes out and maybe have a little relief from that, but I'm just not there yet.
Yeah. I've been on stage. I've been on stage twice where someone I loved tremendously was dying, and I uh, just let it go. I just let it happen. And it was just timing, just weird timing, where I was actually trying to pay homage. In one case, I was trying to actually pay homage to the person, and they just happened to be dying at the time, and so it ended up. And I did it to the dance of mourning.
Mm.
So the people who knew that I was genuinely like mourning on stage. Um, I don't necessarily recommend it, but it's how I process. So I'm like, you know what, you get to see, because that's the other part of this that, from a performance perspective, if I may divert us for 10 seconds,
Yeah.
performance is a deeply personal thing. It really is. I mean, you are showing your vulnerability in this environment, and and it's when you're in your creative space and you're showing something, okay, maybe everybody doesn't resonate with it, but you're being vulnerable in that moment. And that's why I do actually like dancing when I'm in grief, because I'm letting myself be vulnerable, and in so doing also permitting, showing it's permissible to do so to others.
Mm.
Because I think sometimes we I think people do things when they believe that others think it's acceptable. Whether we're very connected socially as people, and so a lot of times somebody won't do this because, oh my god, I might get in trouble, or oh my god, somebody might not like it, or whatever. But one of the most beautiful performances I ever saw, and was actually a cancer survivor, and it was at Tribal Fest, and I don't remember if it was 10, 11, 12. I can't tell you when it was. And it was a woman who, she had this speech at the beginning of her performance, and she said, what you are about to see is who I am. And and she had breast cancer, and she had a mastectomy, and she actually bore her breasts.
Wow.
She had no breasts anymore. She had had mastectomy. They were gone. So she bore her chest on stage. I never cried so fucking hard in the whole of my life. And
Wow.
I was also there with one of my troop mates who had just gone through breast cancer treatments and survived. And that's power. That's true power. And that's being vulnerable in the moment. And that's letting people see who you are. And a lot of us will I have been, I do feel like I've gone there. I've gone there. I don't go there very often, but some people will never get there, because you have to be so comfortable with yourself that it's like, this is what it is. And I lost it. I gave her a standing ovation. We all did, because it was so powerful, and that was, it was just so moving at the time. Sorry, like I said, I went off on a tangent, but
No, I mean, that's a great example of like somebody using the power of healing and performance to just to grieve, to show like to kind of step into that next chapter or volume of their life. And to just be like, and here I am.
yeah,
Um,
it was amazing. It was the most amazing thing I had ever seen. I mean, it's stuck with me. You
yeah.
know, I mean, I've seen a lot of beautiful things, and it was beautiful because in that moment she took herself. She said, "This is who I am." She owned that moment, and it was by far the most powerful. I've seen a lot of great performances. I've seen a lot of wonderful things. I'm not saying I don't. I have a lot of memories, but that one, that's at the top.
Yeah.
That is number one. That's up there. So
That's amazing. That's
yeah,
amazing.
it was pretty touching. So what else haven't we gotten to on your list?
Yeah, so I'm gonna look at the comments real fast, and then we've got a couple more things. So thanks everyone for hanging out with us today. Um, Edie says, dancing our emotions sounds great. And Jennifer says, dancing through grief, trauma, etc., is powerful. Still remember a show we were in with Amy Sigil, and the emotion and power she exuded was raw and visceral. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
know. I feel that way whenever I watch Amy dance, right? It's just intense, whatever the emotion is that she's expressing. And then
Oh, yeah.
Jacqueline says, I love how you talk about the vulnerability and performance. Never thought of it that way, and I love it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
That's why I still get stage fright. I get stage fright. I've never not had stage fright. I have it at every single show, with the exception of Haflas, because Haflas are usually fun. But pretty much every big stage show, I always have it. I always have it because I know that what I'm showing you is me, and
Yeah.
there's no hiding from the lights. There's no, people can see you. It's like if you, I know not everybody is spiritual or whatever, but it's like going to church and you hide at the back, like the guy can't see at the front,
Yeah.
or in an auditorium. I mean, it's not a 3,000 person auditorium where they can't pick you out. When sometimes when you're up close and personal with somebody, it's like they see you. They see what's on your face. They see the lines. They see They see the expression. They know when you went and you choked in the middle of a performance or whatever. It's hard. It can
Yeah.
be, but it's growing too. You can grow from it. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're supposed to grow, right? And so these
uh,
journeys that we go through, no matter how horrible they are, we can look at them and say, okay, life, what am I learning from this? Right. And
yeah,
then in our case, how can we utilize something we love? How can we utilize dance to help us get through this journey, no matter what it is? And I definitely want to touch on that because it's so easy for somebody to just turn inward when something happens where you whether it's like whether you break an arm or whether you're going through cancer or whatever, it's really easy to just be like turning inward. But just keep in mind, like, remember the reasons that you love to dance, and remember that it's healing. And if your arm is broken and you can still move your finger, just like Beth said, like, movement is life. Just tune into the joy, tune into whatever emotions actually you feel like you need at that time, and let dance be part of your journey. Yeah, that's not something that your doctors are gonna prescribe. So it's up to you to advocate for yourself in your own dance journey.
yep. And I do dance for myself, and some things are definitely just for me. But you know, I I I think for us in this community, just by extension, it's we're in a slightly, you know, we're we like the limelight. We like to the goal is to dance with other people. That's part of the joy of it. That's what we're trying to do. So yeah, kind of
Yeah.
amazing, isn't it? Sort of
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
weird a weird
And
thought.
with that being said, in our dance and the way that we connect with other people and the group aspect, the social aspect of it, um, it's really important. Kind of coming back to what I said before, we never know what each other is going through. We may think we know, we can't assume. So, compassion, kindness, all of those things, 100%, we need to make sure that we approach as a way in our classes, in our performances, not our performances, in our classes and in our interactions with other people, because yeah, dance can heal so many things. So let's help enable that with each other.
Yeah. And I'll say if you make a mistake, like if you, because again, perfection isn't attainable. But if you make a mistake, you know, it's okay to apologize to somebody, and it's okay if they don't forgive you. But at some point, you need to forgive yourself. You know, because I know I've had my fair share of things where I was like, "Ooh, I screwed that up royally," and I've said I'm sorry to a lot of people over the years, and the only person now is just making sure you forgive yourself. So I've done a lot of forgiveness of myself over the years too, because I'm just figuring it out too. Surprise, surprise! Nobody's got the book to life. Yeah, it's all figured out. And I mean, it's okay to fall and stumble too. I
Yeah.
think some people need to hear that. It's okay, because I can tell you during my treatments, I was I first of all, my treatment almost killed me twice, like literally. One time I actually was dying, and they ran in and they stopped it. Thank God. Another time, actually, both times were like that, where my treatment almost killed me. And I thought about it afterwards, and I thought, "Whew, that was close," and it was. But I figured there was still a plan for me. I don't know what the hell it is. I just, it, maybe it's for this. Maybe somebody out there needs to know, you know, because I'm going to be honest here. Let's have some real honesty. Let's have some real vulnerability. When I found out I had colon cancer, I thought to myself, "Wow, I'm not even woman enough to get breast cancer." That's a hell of a hard thing to say to yourself.
Wow.
That's real. That's real talk. And then I was like, okay, that tells me I hold it all in my gut, which is true. I hold everything in my gut. And then by the time I was done with my treatment, I came up with a joke. You guys ready for my joke? It's a crappy
Yeah.
joke. Get it?
Ha
It's,
ha.
it's a crappy joke, but seriously, it's a crappy joke. So they say that scientists have found out that the colon, believe it or not, the intestines actually have neurons in them. Believe it or not,
Mhm.
they have brain neurons in the intestine. This is a true scientific fact. And they figure it's why you get gut instinct because it's actually bypassing the spinal cord and going straight to the brain. And so I looked at my doctor. Here's the joke part. So I looked at my doctor and I said, well, you pulled out part of my colon. And he's like, yeah, it was a female surgeon. She's like, yeah, I did. And I said, well, does that mean I had a lobotomy? Because I have part of my colon. So
Oh
that's
my
my
goodness.
crappy joke.
It was, yeah, but
So,
it was good.
you can get through it. You can laugh through it. And it maybe not in the moment, but hey, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Somebody has a purpose for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. We get through it. I mean, and if we don't, then that's just a whole different story. But yeah.
yep. I've let's put it this way. No one on the planet would ever say that woman didn't live her life because I have lived my life and somewhat three people's lives over with it. I have had a great life and I don't I only regret like two decisions and that ain't bad.
That's really good. As long as you're not having to deal with those decisions still, right? Oh my goodness. Well, I could just sit here and talk forever, but we should probably wrap
Yep.
it up. So we've talked about our personal shares and why we wanted to have this podcast. We talked about the science behind the musical aspects of the healing that it does to our body. We've talked about the Eastern philosophy of the chakras, a very small amount, and the healing aspects of the vibrations and everything that music and movement can bring. We brought in the conversation about our communities and how our communities help us be even stronger through our healing processes, whether they know it or not. And we talked about how we can keep dancing. Even a little bit of movement would be helpful to any aspect of healing that we might have because it's going to help us connect even more with our present state of being, with our mind, with our breath, with our physical aspect as far as the proprioception, the interoception, and just truly finding how is this version of me feeling today? What does this version of me need? And giving that to them. Don't forget that you love to dance and try to use that as a way to help you heal, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Dance is life, right? As Beth said at the very beginning, dance is life. So utilize dance to enrich and heal and connect with others throughout your life. So, yes. All right, Beth, thank you so much for your time today. I
You're
really
welcome.
enjoyed it. I always enjoy our conversations, whether they're online or offline. I love our conversations and our hangout time. We'll definitely have to have more of these. I'll be in touch because I've got some 2025 ideas with you as well. But
Awesome.
yeah, anything else that you want to share before we close out this podcast episode?
Well, if anybody wants to contact me and find out again about what some of the symptoms were, some of them were kind of odd, but I'm always willing to talk to somebody. And if if I'm going to say this now, I apologize in advance if I don't remember names. God did not bless me with the gift of name remembrance, so I please forgive me ahead of time. But I am more than willing to chat with anybody, and I hope you found some inspiration in what we discussed today. So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you
Same.
for
Yes.
listening to Crazy Gemini speak.
Yes, and I'm just gonna echo what you said. If anybody wants to have a conversation, Jennifer, if anybody wants to have a conversation, I'm here for it. I'd can just tell you my story. Everybody's story is different. I didn't have any symptoms, but I can 100% just be here for you. So, all right. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us live. Again, special shout out to all of our members. You keep FCBDU alive. You keep us growing. You keep, we're going on 5 years now. You keep us being able to connect, pull in teachers, pull in experts. And I'm really excited for our next episode in November. Very special episode on flamenco. So everything from health and healing to dance inspiration, we have it for you. So tune in to the next episode, and have a wonderful evening or afternoon wherever you are. Mwah! Much love, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.